And we'll do that for about 3 or 4
Kepler
seasons.
22 beers. Earth. Earth is 22. Kepler beer. Mother is father.
That would be the perfect way to just kill the show. Is if, because what...
You damn dirty apes!
That's it. I was thinking
Not
about
the statue of Liberty on Kepler 22b. That'd be amazing if that's us.
That would be the dumbest fucking shit.
Hunter on his knees. You damn dirty ape!
That would be, you damn dirty androids! You blew it up!
You've done it. You've done it.
You killed it. You successfully killed.
So, a lot of crazy things have transpired, but I don't want to skip right to the end. I want to give everything its due and kind of work through what the fuck happened here.
Is it too much?
Is there too much going on? Too much insanity?
Too much insanity. Now, I don't know that I personally agree, but I think that that's a valid question.
I think for a lot of people there's too much insanity.
You think so?
I don't think Grandma would be down with this level of insanity.
Grandma, watch the giant snake gonna give him birth by an android.
So Marcus's congregation, right? What I was expecting to happen was Marcus no longer had Lamia's eye, so his charisma is gone, and I was expecting a slow political coup where they all realise that he doesn't have the charisma, and they all slowly, and he tries to bring them back.
Which is what was happening.
It did, yeah, it did start to happen.
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen.
And yeah, you're right, it did play out in episode 5 relatively quickly. The main lady, what the fuck is her name? Decima, she was like, you know, you made me kill my daughter.
Yeah,
You don't have the light anymore.
She fucking tuned out immediately after he lost the eyes.
I'm done. But then, yeah, out of nowhere, fucking Viril just fucking comes out of the darkness and brutally slaughters everybody.
What better reason is there to have a show with androids in it
Yeah.
than to have an android who has its face stripped off
Oh my
and
God.
comes back with a homicidal fucking rage? What better reason? There is it is classic alien.
Yeah.
Classic alien.
Everything you want from a show. They're like, it's like, I just wish they hadn't have pulled the punch and they had to go on through with the fucking this or that. And yeah, not only did it not pull the punch, but yeah, I did not expect this whatsoever. I did not see it coming. It was shocking. In the moment, I was like, what the fuck?
It's not unexpected though.
Well, it makes logical sense in retrospect.
In retrospect, that's what I meant, right?
But I couldn't have told you this was going to happen.
No. Okay, well, so I think if you're going to dissect it,
Yeah.
right? If you're going to dissect the show, you have to question. Yeah, again, right? Because there's so many crazy left turns, right?
Yeah.
And so each left turn, in this instance, it made logical sense. Right?
Yeah.
It was
They took her face. She took their face.
It was perfectly reasonable for her to come back. We've established like the longevity of androids to a certain degree or whatever.
Yeah.
But the question is, right? If you're going to dissect it, the final shot that we see of her before all this happens, I guess that was in the final. Or the
episode 4.
Yeah, where she's laying on the.
She fell.
She fell and she's laying on the thing.
Yeah.
Right? Is that misleading?
Perhaps. I was also thinking like, because you can start to break down everything and think about it and like, what is happening? What is going on? Not so much with the android attack.
Right. Yeah.
I was also thinking, yeah, is it worth it just for the spectacle? How much does the logic of shit matter?
And this is why I originally brought up this point, right? Now, this is not I thoroughly enjoyed the show, let's just put that out there.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
But
also.
it's like, I think a good comparison is horror.
Yes.
Right? And it's tropes, right? Now, it's not necessarily like single points of identification, right?
Yeah.
It's more of a general sense of, this thing has just turned on its head, right? In retrospect, maybe it makes logical sense. Maybe, but is it reasonable for us to have is this a reasonable left turn?
Yeah.
Right? Is it a left turn for the sake of left turn?
Yeah.
Right? And if it is, a left turn for the sake of left turning. Is that a bad thing in this context? Right? Because it's like, oh, well, the murderous android that they killed, that we thought they killed, came back to kill them all and seek its revenge, right? Now, again, as you said, is that the spectacle was amazing.
Yeah,
right? We cared
the
about...
act of the murders was brutal, it was violent. They're all interesting in different deaths. Stab that guy with the eye patch in his other eye, cut throats, throw people down the pit.
Jamming people with the fucking scalpel.
Yeah, I think, like, she's an android, she can come back.
Yeah, that's it. It just, even though we've established, and again, this is more of an academic observation rather than a criticism of the show.
Yeah.
Right, is the setup, was there a setup for her to come back?
Yeah.
And the only justification I'd make for that is the setup is them under not assuming that they've actually killed her just by seeing her lying lifeless on the ground rather than finishing the job.
Yeah, going down and investigating.
Which they wouldn't have done because they were consumed by the fervor that they were in, right?
Yeah.
So, did they make a mistake? Was the mistake reasonable?
Yeah.
Interesting question from a screenwriting perspective, right? Our expectations were subverted, right?
Yes. Several times. So Marcus goes down into the pit while this brutal massacre is happening. And there's some, like, de-evolved humanoid creature there.
It's like one of the fish people. It's adjacent to the fish people.
And he has the tooth of some prophet guy. Which shit comes from the tooth, it goes into the guy, and he further evolves. There's this de-evolution theme, which we'll talk about later on when more is revealed. So he goes down, he gets this tablet, which reveals stuff, and the creature de-evolves, and he murders it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I mean, I can kind of follow the steps as to what is happening, and it was interesting.
I think that's another instance.
It needs to, right, answer these questions at some point.
Yes, well, so that is exactly it. And it kind of, sort of, and this is a conclusion bit, it kind of, sort of...
It doesn't.
That didn't it?
The question is, will it? And when?
I think
how long will it take?
I think it gave more half answers to things that were set up before things that were set up now or expanded upon.
So it wrapped up the number 7 Serpent storyline. That was the big thing at the end of season 1, right? Lamia gives birth to a snake and it comes out and it's like...
I think it showed us the conclusion of the events.
It concluded it, but it may not have answered.
It didn't answer the events. It didn't give us... It didn't... Okay,
so this is what I believe happened.
Yeah.
The trust, or the signal, came in to the tropical zone, somehow was able to penetrate the tropical zone, and it gave Sue these visions. The visions are really fucking cool. They were like leeches, and she went in and there was strobing lights, and it was in the thing, and it was on her face.
It answered a prayer, essentially, for our character.
And it was a very well executed horror sequence. It answered a prayer, and then it said, go and get the artifact and get the seeds of the tree of life.
And plant it.
She goes and she does that. Oh my god, there's so much going on here. So she plants the signal, right, influenced her because it wanted the serpent to eat the tree and turn into a monster.
I think that's the bit that is incongruent. That it wants the serpent to do the thing because now...
We don't know why it wants to do to do the thing.
Okay, so... Right, there was a war.
Yeah.
The entity and its followers versus everybody else, right?
Yeah.
That's and that provides further context for things that happen later after that, right? So now the tree thing is sort of, if you look at the sequence of events that completed the entity's goals in this instance was the snake eating the tree, right? And then we get context that the trees, they're kind of like weapons. But why are we... So, okay, why are we doing these... If it's weapons and stuff to fight a war on behalf of the entity, right? Why so many convoluted steps, I think is the question that may or may not happen.
Well, it's set up to, like, influence humans through, like, religious ideology and iconography and all that. It's set up in a way to make these humans think that there's a prophet and there's a magical tree of life, and if you go through these steps then salvation will come. But in reality that's not what it's trying to achieve at all. What it's trying to achieve is just chaos and death, presumably.
Yeah, it's malicious.
Yeah, it's malicious.
What I mean is, so sure you can get a human to get the seed and take it and turn into the tree.
Yeah.
Which is fucking gruesome. Right?
Yeah.
That's easy. That's
consume.
So that's easy to get somebody to do.
Yeah.
The question is, right, is what happened to Lamia to get the snake thing that's then going to eat the tree, is that easy to do? And is that like a convoluted bunch of stuff to fulfill the entity's goals? What would have happened if that didn't happen?
I guess there is a more streamlined way to destroy all these people than
the fruit being addictive?
Falsely manipulating Lamia while she's in a simulation and making her think that her creator impregnated her when really the signal impregnated her and it was a snake and the snake comes out but it's a herbivore but then it's fucking evil.
It's a weapon.
There's a streamlined way of doing that, but that's not what this is. This is like batshit, off the wall, crazy fantasy horror spectacle.
I think what we need in that specific plan, because we're thinking about what the entity is planning for its goals, which I guess is chaos, right? So it wants to get something that's going to sow chaos with everybody and kill everybody, right? What we need to see for the snake and Lamia part of it, right, is that happening or something similar happening that then fits into the tree thing.
Yeah.
Right? So we saw the tree thing happen again on the visual.
Yeah.
So that's something that we've seen.
Yeah.
A bunch of humans get convinced, one of them sacrifices themselves and turns into this fucked up tree, right?
They absorb a seed and then a tree grows out of them and they get brutally body horrored to death.
Right, so we need to see the same sort of similar thing with a snake creature, right? Okay, well, so they're doing this so they can get a snake creature to eat it, right? So how is that happening if not for Lamia back then, right? Are they getting another necromancer android? Because we did establish that they're from this planet, the necromancer androids.
Yeah, grandmother is from this planet.
So is there another necromancer android that it's convinced to give birth to a snake, a flying snake monster, which I think is important?
Well, it's only flying because it's Lamia's spawn. The other ones were earthbound.
Yeah. So maybe it can get humans to give birth to snakes, right? That would be, and if we got that sort of answer, because we see all the snake skeletons, so presumably that's what's been happening, or at least that's what I think of.
Yeah.
People turning into trees, snake monsters coming from people.
Maybe this is the first incidence of it, because the snake is able to weaponize because it's of mother's spawn too as well. So this might be the first instance of this.
So maybe the tree and the snakes are not naturally connected.
Yeah,
and
it's seen Lamia and it thought, I will use her genetics to manipulate the serpent and weaponize it.
That's a good way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah. It's funny, and again, we need answers to this stuff, right? We need basic answers.
So there's two mind frames that I'm off. A lot of people don't like ambiguous media and they want the logic and the answers. The Lighthouse is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Some people watch that, and I've talked to a lot of people, most people, and they go, what the fuck happened? I don't understand. I'm confused. I don't like it. Robert Pattinson walks in, the door opens, and he goes, and it rolls credits. And some people aren't fine with that. I'm fine with weird, ambiguous stuff, but at the same time, this is a television show that's continuing to go. It's not a 2-hour movie.
No.
It does need to answer as many questions as it's asking, at least, but also at the same time, I'm kind of fine with just watching these crazy, insane spectacles for the sake of them, as long as there's a degree of investment and understanding. When that snake ate the fucking tree, I was so fucking high, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? This is crazy, this is incredible, this is insane. It starts, tentacles out of it and shit, and it was incredible.
Come on, we gotta go.
It was amazing. It was shocking. It was insane. It may or may not, but yeah, I guess they need to at some point explain what happened.
Here's a point to that.
Which we kind of know.
Here's a point to that, and there's a term for it. It's they're doing segues, right? Left turns, as I said.
Yeah.
Right? And so we get the tree.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we're puzzling out what the next step is. Oh, it's addictive, or it's gonna convert.
It has fruit. Marcus eats the fruit.
But then but then they're trying to give it to everybody else, and then they're addicted. Like, it's kind of like addictive.
We don't know anything about. We don't know what the fruit means. What people eating the fruit means.
I think the point is right. Is that to me is what it was leading up to. It's going to create a bunch of crack addicts for this fruit, right?
Yeah.
Or influenced in some way by it. But then that all just goes away because of the snake monster, and we drop that. And
well, there's a lot of open-ended things at the end of this season, which, yeah, they need to
so Father said
in season 3.
Father said, we haven't told the children, I guess, about the human origins of the fish people.
Yes.
Now, that they probably did, like give that to us.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. I know that that's true.
Yeah, at the end of season 1, Mother was confronted by one of these fucking things. And I don't even think it came from the show. I think I watched a review of it, like an ending explained. And the creator had come out and said that this entity was humanoid and is de-evolved. So I'm not even sure if I picked up the de-evolution of humanity into these creatures from the show.
You probably gave it to me.
Or from the creator coming out and saying, hey guys, this is what's happening.
Which, that's not good.
Yeah.
On the face of it, that's not good, right?
I think at the end of this season, we know that, we're jumping ahead now, but we know the grandmother is de-evolving all the children.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
So therefore you could extrapolate that these creatures were once human. And you see the guy that Marcus gives the tooth to, you see him somewhat humanoid, then continue to de-evolve.
Yeah, evolution's a thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of, crazy, ambiguous stuff going on.
And it is fun to watch for the spectacle of it.
And part of it is like sitting there and going, what is happening? And trying to go over the events.
But that's like Lost, right?
That is like Lost. And what Lost did was, didn't it? Well...
Okay, so segue into Lost, right? I watched, when I was young, 3 seasons.
Yes.
It's fucking great.
Amazing.
It's crazy, right? I didn't think about any of the questions.
It's like a worldwide phenomenon. Everyone watched it.
It just kept turning left. Oh, hey, turn left, right?
Yeah.
Right? And then I never finished it, and I saw people talking about online and how unsatisfied they were. Then I actually went to an explanation of it, right? And it wasn't like a video. And it wasn't one of those videos that makes some huge leaps in logic and doesn't have scenes and story elements to back up its explanation.
Yeah.
It was like, this in here means this is happening because it shows that that's what's happening.
Yeah,
and it just clarifies.
It wasn't ambiguous.
It wasn't
direct.
ambiguous.
Okay.
There's a little bit of ambiguity.
Yeah,
but not enough to make it unreasonable.
Yeah.
Right? And then I ended up casually seeing it play out.
Yeah.
Because Ken was watching it. And I was like, okay, now knowing what I know.
Well, yeah, everyone lost interest in Lost. It was, a thing that happened with everyone, myself included. And I did end up watching the show. And I don't remember really what happened or really caring all that much. But one of the things that happened with that too was, I think his name is Damien Lindelof. But whoever was making it, ABC or someone, they wanted him to keep on going. And he wanted
that's
4 seasons. And they're like, we have a hit show. People are watching it. Do you know how rare this is?
Yeah.
Do you know how hard people... So they forcibly made him keep it going when he didn't want to. So I think it became bloated with meaningless crap, and everyone just drifted off, and no one watched the ending, and no one cared, and no questions were answered.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen with this. It hasn't been renewed for a season 3 as of yet. No one has said anything.
That would be extremely disappointing.
If this is how it ended. It's still something that I would like rewatch every 5 years.
Yeah, it's the sci-fi spectacle. It's exploration of sci-fi themes that just sort of hits at the core of what I want.
And it's executing everything at like the highest level of like horror and science fiction and the cinematography and the acting and the design and the directing and the editing. It's all beautiful and amazing.
The scene where Lamia's torturing fucking Travis, whatever, and it's like, oh no, not Travis, the truth guy,
like vibrating through him,
and it keeps like, and it's like it stretches the POV a little bit on her, right? So she comes in at like, she stretches in on this, with the lighting and.
Now, tell me what the antidote is.
I told you I don't know.
You know, lovely. And just, pure cinema goodness, right?
Yeah. So I'm able to a certain point to just enjoy the spectacle for the sake of the spectacle.
That gets old very quick, I think, is the.
I think maybe the next season will be like the point where it's like, are they satisfyingly giving me conclusions which I understand and am following?
Yeah.
Because this just ends completely open-ended. So Tempest goes down to the acid ocean to give birth to her baby, and I was thinking while I'm watching this, they're not going to kill the baby. There's no fucking way they're going to kill the baby.
And they kind of killed the baby.
The baby survives, but it was fucking horrific, and like I was like, holy fuck, this monster comes out, burns her, she's screaming, and it puts it into its fucking chest cavity.
I think it was wiping its hands on her.
Yeah, so it just like touched her as it took the baby, and the acid didn't burn the baby.
No,
it just gets into the de-evolution, it's got the fins, and acid didn't burn the baby. But yeah, that whole sequence was just like horrific. I was like, oh my god.
Well, it's like a character. They actually had a few characters, like our children, the children.
Yeah,
they had
some shit.
Yeah, they had some good character development with them.
There's this whole like thing going on too, where like mother and father are like distracted and like doing, well, bigger events are transpiring, and like Campion is crushing on a murder machine, and Tempest baby got took, and like father is fucking around with this ancient android he did, and mother's, I guess she's got the serpent and a bunch of other stuff.
They've got too much on their plate. Well, they had too much.
They're falling flat in a lot of ways and letting their children fall.
Well, Olme points that out to father, right?
Yeah, Hunter has a go, and he's like, Campion is down with that murder machine.
What are you doing?
Tempest baby got took. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, what is happening? Yeah.
And I mean, they already have like killed 5 of their 6 children with the irradiated turnips. So they're not like infallible.
No.
They're flawed human beings.
Well, that's the thing of the show.
Mistakes. Yeah, that's one of the more interesting elements of it.
Look around. You got Campion crushing on a murder machine. Tempest baby's gone. You could have steered them right. What the hell happened to you?
Now, I got confused, right? So, grandmother, right?
Yes.
So, now, Mithraic is actually the atheists, right? The ancient atheists, like the Mithraic language and all that stuff, is actually non-entity supporters, right? Because grandmother is not an entity supporter, and her goal is to, quote, preserve humanity, and the way she's doing that is de-evolving them, so therefore the entity shuts down, like goes back to sleep.
Yeah.
Right? So she's not with the entity.
No, she's not with the
entity.
entity.
So the necromancer, all the tech, the fucking the card with the trees on it, all the symbolism, all that stuff is fucking anti-Mithraic, right? Because grandmother was speaking Mithraic, right?
Oh, I don't know.
But that's the point, right?
The ancient humans, I believe, were seated on this planet, Kepler B22 or whatever.
Yes.
And at some point in time, they seeded Earth. We're talking like a time scale of millions of fucking years. And they destroyed themselves. So, yeah, I guess they originally had the androids and all that technology and stuff. And then later on, when that technology and humanities was seeded on Earth, it became a Mithraic.
It flipped around, and they flipped the script, and it was like, oh, well, this supports our religion.
Yeah, they found this technology, and then they worked it into their newly formed ideology on Earth.
Yeah, so it's all backwards, right?
Yeah.
Which is
I
interesting.
hadn't thought about that. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, so the entity, the entity caused the rift in the humans on Kepler B.
Yeah.
Right, which then, whether it was a religion or cult likeness, they were fighting a war, right? And they put traps everywhere, like the little fucking the things, right? But then singing the song of the Mithraic is the key to the thing, right? So, see now again, I think that they need to make a clear distinction. Not totally clear. They don't need to stand at the camera and say, hey, this is what happened on Kepler B.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how that translates into this.
Yes.
But there's no clear, there was obviously a conflict.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yes.
There were
was
two.
a conflict.
One of them's led by entities and the other is not. Right?
Yes.
But the stuff there needs to, and they would have had the same technology or they deviated or whatever, right? Same iconography and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
One of them was just an offshoot that was malicious under the control of the entity. So there needs to be a clear delineation between the conflict goers, the participants in the conflict, and where the bounds are between it all, right? Because that's where I get confused, is using the song of the Mithraic to open up this thing.
Yeah.
Even though the Mithraic adapted the technology of the non-entity people into their religion. Yeah.
It could even just be as simple as he wanted Sue to absorb the seed and she was singing and it opened it up.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, but
it's hard to tell. I think at this point it's fine.
It's fine.
But you get to a point at the end of season 2 where you're like, okay, I'm invested, I'm in, I'm watching it. He wants 5 seasons, so there's 3 more seasons, theoretically, if it happens after this. Season 3, it needs to start slowly addressing these issues. And then by the end of season 5, you need to have understood the history, the timeline, what happened, the motivations behind these actions.
Yeah. Well, it seems to, because it seems to be putting, you end up with too much on your plate, right? So when we got introduced to the conflict on Earth, I found that fascinating.
That was amazing. Yeah.
But it was dribs and drabs. We got a general sense of what was happening.
I think episode 2 was like primarily a flashback episode to Marcus and his origin
We did get a delineation.
Yeah. Then it kind of stopped and there were a few little flashbacks.
Atheist, religious people.
Yeah.
Bam,
war,
easy.
Necromancers.
But
destroyed humanity.
So then we get sort of a couple of lines of dialogue on how they found the necromancers and that became part of their text and stuff. But it's like, okay, now you've just opened up a bunch of other questions.
Yeah.
Especially, so okay, that's one past conflict that we haven't fully explored.
And now you're setting up another.
And now you're doing the exact same thing.
I mean, it's entirely possible that this guy's just insane and batshit crazy. And it's just, it's going to get more confusing and strange and complicated.
I don't want to think that.
And not answer any fucking questions and just boggle the mind.
Which would fuck the show. I think ultimately would fuck the show, right? So
there's a line you need to ride between that weird, fantasy, ambiguous, like I don't need everything to be sat down and told to me. But there is a line where, you need to understand why things are happening to care that they're actually happening.
Yeah, so I think if I can point to 3 moments, right, that sort of toe the line, one of them more so than others, right? The snake eating the tree.
Yeah.
The fucking Travis going down into the thing and seeing the half fish monster in the tooth.
Yeah.
And Travis levitating off the tree at the end. And that one is the worst example of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I would cite season 1, like at the end, she gives birth to the snake.
Right.
And I was like, what the fuck?
What the fuck is this?
Is happening? I do not understand. And it did explain the snake and what happened to the snake.
Yeah.
Well, Mother got impregnated by...
It's magic.
We don't know why.
It's essentially...
But the signal impregnated Mother in the simulation with this alien creature.
Okay. Here it is.
I feel satisfied with the number 7's arc.
The scene in space was great. The scene.
Oh, yeah. So...
No. Hang on.
We'll argue over the minutiae, and then we should go into talking about how beautiful
That's fine. So, I think the crux of it, the explanation, or the reason can't be magic.
No,
it can't be, because that's kinda like, how did she get pregnant? How did she do this? And it's like, you don't need all of it.
I don't think it's going to answer anything to that level of...
No, but that's what I'm saying. You don't need that level of detail.
Yeah.
But it can't be magic.
Yeah.
Right? So we can't get to... I mean, you theoretically could get to the end and have the entity be God, right? I don't know how fulfilling that would be, where the answer to everything is then magic, right? How does this work?
It kind of...
It kind of is like that.
It described the mechanics of how the snake came about. And we know that the signal / the entity thing in the center of the universe, it did that. We don't know how it did that. But yeah, magic is just kind of a fucking thing, right?
Yeah, no,
it's fantasy.
That's like totally fair.
Like the seed sinks into Sue's hands and she turns into a fucking tree.
Yeah.
It's not going to describe how that fucking physically happened.
No, that's fine. But it's like, is that the entity gifting these people fucking technology or biotechnology, like viruses that they can use for bioterrorism against the fucking other faction?
Yeah. I guess, it could be nanobots or
whatever, but
something.
Mechanically it doesn't even have to get that deep.
Yeah.
Right? It just needs to be like, it fucking psycho converts people to being malicious and then gives them a bunch of tools out of its technological superiority arsenal. Like, because the quantum computer for the Trust was essentially doing techno magic.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine, but him turning into a fucking scaly cocoon was a biological weapon in a mouse, sorry.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
The seed in the tree is a bioweapon given to his cultists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so not even don't need all that.
Yeah.
Because I like fantasy.
Yeah, and I'm fine with ambiguous media. I'm fine with like Twin Peaks and shit where you're like surreal and weird and you're like, not leaps in logic, but I'm still invested.
Oh, I'm invested. Yeah.
So
I love all our characters.
Yeah.
Except the one they killed my favourite character.
Which character?
Sue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was my favourite character.
She's dead.
She had the best arc, right? Like existential crises.
When the little family got back together, I was rooting for them to be happy, and I was thinking of all their like history. And
this is not.
They have a history of like psychopathic breakdowns and mental issues.
Yeah.
And then she dies, and it is sad and moving. Like,
well, that's what I like. That's good.
He's on the tree and like he's eating the fruit and you can see it.
And she's like through the radio, burn me.
No, yeah, that was a tense sequence. She's like, burn me. This little kid's like slowly realizing his mum's dead.
I like that the evidence of the circumstances shown Travis and Paul.
Yeah.
Things are not. This is not Soul, right?
At the end, he's like, it killed fucking Sue.
Fuck this. Fuck you.
He's like, will we give him the fruit to the people now? Is it gonna bring Mum back? He's like, I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Mum's dead.
He's like looking at the tree.
Soul's
and he's
not
like,
Soul.
Well, Paul's desperately reaching out to his father.
Yeah.
The skinwalker, the face taker, right?
The murderer of his father.
For reassurance, and he's like,
I don't think so, kid. This thing's manipulating us all.
I wanted so bad for Soul to be the answer. A way out of the darkness. But maybe Soul is the darkness. Maybe Soul, he doesn't care about us at all.
So yeah, Lamia decides to attach grandmother's veil to her so she can kill the serpent and save her children.
I knew she wouldn't want to take it off.
Yeah, there were red flags abundant. And Lamia at the beginning, like, they had that little face-off, which was fucking brilliant. How Campion activates grandmother, and she's like, then mother comes in. Like two dogs at a fence.
Yeah.
They scruff up their fucking, all the hairs on their backs and up. They're both like,
I was waiting for Lamia to just get fucking wrecked.
Yeah, but she like shut her down, and then grandmother played the long game and
Yeah,
manipulated her way in.
I think grandmother would be more than capable of obliterating Lamia. Seems to be.
Well, yeah, she can saying you're like babies and infants in the grand scheme. She's
Yeah.
1,000,000 years old. She's not 1,000 years old. She's a million-year-old android, which brings up more questions. But anyway, she attaches the veil, and yeah, she sings this lullaby and brings number 7 up, and it tries to feed off of her. It's this big, epic, weird.
It's looking for the milk bloody thing,
yeah.
but she had them sealed up.
Yeah, and just like she twists things and falls down. Campion's like, "What's going on?" Just like into its eye, rips out a thing. She doesn't care anymore. And I was like, "Oh, this horrible snake monster who I hated. I feel sympathy for him."
It had an arc, right?
The snake monster had an arc. It was an empathetic character for me.
I hope that if they're gonna go looking for Lamia, I hope that they don't just wander around and go, "Oh, we can't find her. Oh well," because like
she's there.
She's in the ship.
Yeah.
Right.
In the trench.
What's the chances that no one ever goes?
Yeah.
It can't be.
It could become tedious.
It could be. It could be.
Season. Yeah.
Yeah.
But up until this point, it's moved a lot quicker, and a lot of shit has happened at a speed I wasn't expecting.
It hasn't been tedious, nor has it been too blindingly quick.
Yeah. There's events that I thought would transpire at a certain pace, and then all of a sudden just like,
gone.
Left turn, X happens, and you're like, okay, don't worry about that anymore.
We're doing this now.
So yeah, I guess the last big thing that happens is, grandmother is now out and about. She looks so fucking creepy and freaky.
I love that
She's
character.
got those like contact
Yeah, got the contact lenses.
And her acting is brilliant too.
Oh, yeah.
Even when the veil just comes off and father's like, "What are you feeling?" And she's like,
It is unpleasant. But tolerable.
Just
Her
a little
father, Lamia.
subtle facial. And yeah, now she's experienced emotion, which she's never felt before. She's living with the family.
Yeah, well, so
That could be interesting.
another question though, and this is about, again, not to harp on this point, convoluted plans, right? Was it
Yes.
her plan to get the veil onto Lamia to do exactly what it did? You know what I mean? Because Lamia was obviously an obstacle.
Or was it just random happenstance?
Yeah.
Well, she goes to grandmother and she's like, "You need to reprogram me
Yeah,
to get rid of my nurturing nature towards number 7.
I can give you the veil.
And then grandmother says, "Why don't you put on my veil? It won't consume you and constrict you and suffocate you." That was another great horror moment. They just hung on like shots of her.
Well,
like,
she figured out,
clawing.
Lamia figured out what she was doing, right?
Grandmother de-evolving all the children
Into fish monsters.
What the fuck? So much is happening. Yeah, so in conclusion, I enjoyed the giant serpent android hybrid eating the biotech tree and weaponizing and becoming a fucking monster.
I enjoyed the arc. I enjoyed the backwards and forwards of belief arcs.
Yeah.
Right? The questioning of belief, right, between all of our characters.
I think fucking Varil was a great fucking antagonist for a horror movie. At the end when she's got the fucking Jason mask and the missing face and her voice, the pitch, like it'll like all of a sudden have a word pitched up or down.
If I was there, it would have taken every ounce of willpower not to put a bullet in her head.
That scene when she's in the ship with her mother and like they're talking back and forth. Like, this would be a great horror movie.
Yeah.
Why don't they make horror like this?
Well, it kind of is a horror show, right?
It has those elements.
It is.
It's like horror, fantasy, sci-fi, drama.
Yeah,
some of it's got to be considered fantasy.
Oh, it is fantasy.
Yeah.
It's science, fantasy.
Yeah.
Right?
The serpent eating the tree of knowledge and
Yeah,
evolving,
well, that's all.
or everyone de-evolving. Yeah, grandmother is interesting and the character's compelling, although, yeah, I would like more explained about the de-evolving. The de-evolving thing is a bit...
Apparently, well, the game is going to be manipulating people into de-evolving.
There's a video game, right?
Yeah.
She's got a video game and that...
But it doesn't look like a video game. They didn't really...
It ended incredibly open-ended.
Yeah.
It ended with Travis Fimmel as an antichrist floating upside down, dripping blood on some guy. And then it rolls credits and you're like...
He had a good art too,
What?
old mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to kill him. I'm like, oh no. And they kind of did. I don't know.
No, the other guy that fucking put Travis on the thing. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he starts getting manipulated by Soul at that
Yeah, well,
point.
he thinks he's the fucking...
The chosen. It just tells people who want to hear that the chosen.
Yeah, it tells them exactly what they want to hear.
Manipulates them, they do whatever it wants.
Yeah, no.
So this is part of its plan as well.
Yeah.
Travis Fimmel is the Antichrist.
It's putting in... It could just be a matter of it's watching all this and just taking every opportunity it can to fuck shit up.
Just like a child,
Just
blah,
take this, we're gonna do this, which is really, that's funny. That would be infinitely funny.
Yeah,
if that's
has no greater
scatter all the fucking
motivation
symbols
or-
everywhere and fucking, you know. Yeah, and so I'd like to see... Grandmother came out the gate fucking swinging.
Yeah.
She knew exactly what she wanted to do.
And I'm down for the concept of like season 3 to be Lamia versus grandmother. That sounds crazy and amazing.
I think we'll get...
If Lamia can get out and then they can... I don't even know. Shenanigans ensue.
Like, grandmother is fucking... She's
the ultimate obstacle at this point.
She's going, she's getting it
Mother's
done.
locked up, and grandmother's like, all you motherfuckers are turning into fish monsters and going into the sea, because that's my idea of preserving humanity.
She did the Asimov fucking three laws trick, right?
Yeah.
Don't hurt humanity, protect them at all costs. Oh, well, if
they're
I just change...
happier if they're monsters.
then I can protect them, and you know
Humanity.
what? That's a classic... Now, that's
manipulation of fucking meaning.
That's
Play on what?
That's a classic trope, and I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I like that. That is a harken back to fucking...
She's an android.
Yeah. So I like that. I'll give that one an A+.
Yeah. I'm on board. I'm invested. It looks beautiful. And when shit happens, I feel stuff.
Okay.
I'm moved and shocked and surprised and horrified.
I've got characters that I care about.
Yeah. The only question is, will season 3 even happen? And if it does, then will it start answering these larger questions?
Do we know how many people are watching it?
I don't think so. It's on HBO Max, and they don't release the fucking numbers. Like, old network television would be like, Home and Away was watched by 40,000 people.
No.
Amazon Prime, Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus, they don't release any of this. They
No.
keep everyone out of the dark, because they're cunts.
No, they're just keeping you out of the dark. We have no way to measure whether or not...
Well, even like, Rogan talks about like being on Netflix. Like, they don't tell him how many people watched his special. It's weird.
Yeah, I find that really weird.
Because I guess when something like flops and fails, everyone's like, yeah, Solo flopped. No one's seen that. It lost money. I guess they can cover up that if they lose money.
That's
and if stuff
fair.
flops. I don't know.
Stock shareholder sort of stuff. We don't actually have
They're
shows
keeping us
that are
out of the
flopping.
dark.
Well, in conclusion, let's see how we go. I'm down.
I hope in a year's time we're sitting down and talking about season 3 in a positive manner.
The same way that we're kind of...
Yeah, it was great. I would put it up there with The Expanse and Dune.
Easy.
And modern, high fidelity, high concept, science fiction.
Super high concept.
But then you mix in, like the David Lynch surrealism and the magic. And so it's not for everyone.
No, of course it's not. Right, but that's, there's the Expanse wasn't for everybody, and that's as mainstream as mainstream.
It should have been.
Should have been the next Star Wars.
Should have been the next Game of Thrones.
You know what, they're doing Obi-Wan now.
Yeah.
They just can't do it. They just can't not do it.
They did Boba Fett.
They did Boba
Now
Fett.
they're doing Obi-Wan.
They just can't not
That'll
do
be
it.
Darth
They just
Vader.
we just
Then it'll be Yoda.
we were getting off. Yeah, we were getting off the track.
Yeah.
We were getting off the rail, the roller coaster, the straight on rails fucking thing. We got there just a little bit. I didn't care that much for Mandalorian, but we were getting there. And then
Boba Fett, Obi-Wan.
And Boba Fett was not very well received.
No, it was terrible. It was so blatantly mediocre. It was the opposite of this. It was just mediocre and bland and boring and predictable and
Yeah.
shit.
Well, on the spectrum, I mean, you know, it's not hard to be bland in comparison to Raised by Wolves.
It was bland in comparison to...
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That is fucking shocking.
It was just mediocre as fuck.
And now Obi-Wan, yeah. Like, that's going to be a massive hit. That's going to be a massive
Oh, the people are going to watch it.
Oh, everybody's watching.
I'll watch it and
They've-
review it.
It's like they've got Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
They're held hostage by their love of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And the fond memories of Star Wars.
Yeah.
They're held hostage by it.
Yeah.
And they can't
Well, I
recognize...
think there's a large majority of like mouth-breathing fucking idiots that don't analyze media to this degree, and they just kind of put the tube on and they don't think about their failing marriage or their drug addict kids, and they're content and happy.
You know what ruined it for us?
What's that?
The Plinkett reviews.
Yeah.
That ruined
That
it because
shattered the glass ceiling.
it got you thinking. I think if I've never seen them, right, I wouldn't think nearly as deeply about Star Wars, for instance.
Yeah,
right.
I was always heavily interested in music and movies, and when I was a kid, like, movies were a massive part of my very essence. And then you showed me the Plinkett review of episode 1, and I was like, oh fuck. And then just Red Letter Media, and
that.
you get into that deep YouTube analytical analysis of media and film and all that. And I was already into like behind the scenes and making.
You probably would have gotten into that before like if I hadn't seen the Plinkett stuff. I mean, you know, watching
Who
YouTube long enough, you'd find somebody who's talking, like the Cosmonaut Hour is another good one.
Yeah.
He does analysis, your movie sucks,
Yeah.
right? So, it's just funny, right?
Yeah.
The first sort of breakdown that I ever really saw of like a movie.
Yeah.
And it was just tore this fucking thing. And
well, the good thing about that though is your standards become higher, and then you search for like things that actually interest you and engage you. Like some people watch Ghostbusters Afterlife, like that was fulfilling and satisfying. Whereas we would watch that and go, that's garbage. And then through that, you look deeper and you find Bronson and you find Raised by Wolves and you find all that, like The Lighthouse, and you start searching through the garbage and you find these gems of brilliance.
that are just fucking,
So in conclusion, Raised by Wolves is amazing. We don't know what's happening, and we hope to know what's happening in season 3.
The island is going to teleport because it's actually the afterlife, right? But it's not really the afterlife because it's kind of more about time, right? So what they do is they flash back between what they think's the afterlife, and they question the afterlife, and we'll do that for about 3 or 4 seasons.
22b is Earth. Earth is 22 Kepler b. Mother is father.
That would be the perfect way to just kill the show. Because what?
You damn dirty apes!
That's it. I was thinking
Not
about
the Statue of Liberty on Kepler 22b. That'd be amazing if that's us.
That would be the dumbest fucking shit.
Hunter on his knees. You damn dirty ape!
That would be, you damn dirty androids! You blew it up!
You've done it. You've done it.
You killed it. You successfully killed. Well, fucking Battlestar Galactica did that.
Yeah, you said that. I watched the first episode, and even that I was like kind of and I think that's also because you said it doesn't end satisfyingly.
I don't know whether it does or not.
That's fair.
I've questioned, like Lost, I now question my dislike of the prevailing theme and how it resolves.
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
the theme was consistent through the show.
Yeah, so in retrospect, you would
It didn't
pick up
come
on all
out.
those clues.
It didn't come out of left field.
Yeah, it's amazing how much a rewatch can change your opinion. Even I've talked with Mark about this, like being in an emotional mindset. Like I remember I was just getting kicked out of my band, and then I went and watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and I was like, this is fucking shit.
Yeah.
It's overly emotional, all the character moments
Drags
are
out,
bloated, blah blah.
yeah.
Then I watched it probably like 2 years later. I'm like, this is great. What the fuck? My opinion has completely shifted. And that happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
On a
yeah.
rewatch, I'll change significantly what I think. And over fucking time, like a decade,
Well, your standards of what you enjoy do change too, right?
and you as a person change.
Absolutely,
experiences.
absolutely. So yeah, I've thought about that with Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as well, whether or not I need to go back and rewatch
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
What do you want to review next, Steve?
It's a good question. I'm not.
I was thinking we do Alien 3, Alien
Oh,
Resurrection,
I love Alien 3. I love
Prometheus, and then Alien Covenant.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can do that. I mean, fucking.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of shit that goes on there.
Prometheus is almost kind of like the questions that we've raised with Raised by Wolves.
Well, yeah, and it's Ridley Scott, and the aesthetics are kind of similar.
It's almost fucking like, not beat for beat, like visual sort of set pieces.
Yeah.
Right? It's
And
like.
Alien 3 has that like big backstory about the production and all that.
Alien 3 is the
Then,
best Alien movie. It
Then
is,
Alien Resurrection, the 90s one with Winona Ryder and all that. That's schlock, but I give it a free pass.
I give it a free pass.
It's garbage. And if it came out now, I would hate it.
Yeah.
But because of nostalgia in the 90s, I'm like, I give it a free pass. It gets a free pass.
My fucking Alien 1 and Alien 2 are amazing movies.
They're amazing, but I don't think there's any point reviewing them.
No.
Because we'd just be sucking its dick for
Yeah.
an hour.
Oh, I'm gonna be sucking Alien 3's
That's
dick
fair, that's fair.
because it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is the best Alien movie.
Yeah, but if you have any suggestions you'd like to do also, we can jump in there.
I think Alien 3's a fucking good starting place, right?
Sounds good to me.
You know, I'm sure I had something else, but you caught me off guard.
I think those 4 movies cover a wide spectrum of film and quality, and there's behind the scenes shenanigans and degrading quality and Ridley Scott's Alzheimer's and
Are you my daughter? Is this my home? No, Ridley, you're directing fucking Prometheus. Yeah, Raised by Wolves. Are they on an island? Are they in the afterlife or are they jumping
Ridley,
through time? None of that.
urinated in your pants again. Deco was a replicant. No, he wasn't, Ridley. He wasn't a replicant.
Talking about sucking movies, dicks, huh?
Yeah,
Blade Runner
yeah.
2049.
Fuck yeah. Well, apparently Ridley Scott's making a new Blade Runner series. Blade Runner 2099.
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah,
We
yeah.
should review that.
That's gonna be a shit show. Absolute shit show.
He just needs to not write, because he's a fine director. I watched
Yeah,
making of Raised by Wolves season 1, and I was surprised how much input he had in like aesthetics.
Oh, you
and
can
visuals.
tell.
Ridley's eye and vision for cinema is still there. Just script. Don't touch the script.
Yeah, well, that's what
Don't
happened.
touch the
That's
script,
what
Ridley.
happened.
And he never was a writer.
No.
This always happens with these cunts. They're amazing directors, and out of nowhere they're like, I can write.
There's heaps of movies
You
that are like
can't.
that. I think Zack Snyder's The Casino Zombie one is exactly like that. He's got a fucking
The same thing happened with J.J. Abrams. Like, he was a director, and he was a fine good
Star
director.
Wars, Star
and then
Trek.
he started writing, and
I
it's
don't know
like,
if he wrote the later Star Treks.
I think maybe the third, and he wrote some of those Star Wars movies, which were god awful.
Yeah.
Just direct.
Yeah,
Clint Eastwood was a great example of that. He's a great director.
Yeah, he's
and
done
he never
so
touched,
many bad movies.
He never.
so-
Yeah, that's fair. But he's a good director. Like,
Yeah.
Unforgiven. Like,
Did he write fucking Torino?
No, that's the thing. That's the thing I'm saying with Clint Eastwood. He's a great director. He's Academy Award-winning director. Like Unforgiven, Outlaw, Josie
Unforgiven is a
Wales,
fucking great movie.
fucking High Plains Drifter,
We could-
$1 Million Baby, Gran Torino. He directed all them.
Yeah.
He didn't touch a script. He's never touched a script. And in interviews, he's saying, "Would you be interested in writing?" He's like, "No, I can't write. I'm not a
Good.
good writer.
He knows
I
his
did not
bounds."
obtain that attribute."
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's very self-aware, Clint. I'm glad your ego didn't get ahead of you and you didn't pump out garbage like some people.
Like some people looking at you. You think fucking J.J. Abrams or Ridley Scott are gonna watch this?
Yes.
Yeah. Stop it! It's time to stop.
You're a director, not a writer.
The time to stop is now. Oh yeah.
All right, good night.